Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dream Leapers. I'm your host, Harriette Cole, and we have a very special guest with us today. We're going to be speaking to a master storyteller. You know how much I love that. Not only does he produce large-scale events, but he also creates moments that feel intimate and that move communities. He is A. Curtis Farrow, an internationally known human being, creator. He is the Emmy Award-winning producer of McDonald's Gospelfest. He is a communication strategist and cultural architect. As a curator behind one of the largest gospel celebrations in the United States, Curtis has helped bring together thousands of voices and countless artists in a spirit of faith, music, and community. So in 2014, he broke the Guinness World Record for largest gospel choir at 1,175 choir members. Isn't that amazing? And then he succeeded that with a 2,000 voice choir at Madison Square Garden in 2017. And then if that wasn't enough, with a 5,000 voice choir at the Nassau Coliseum in 2018. He has been directing choirs since he was age 9, and he has never stopped. With the next McDonald's Gospel Fest taking place this month, his impact continues to grow year after year. But beyond the gospel stage, Curtis has produced homegoing services for legends of our community, including the late Whitney Houston and the late Aretha Franklin. He also serves as an advocate for education. Through facilitation of McDonald's African American Future Achievers Scholarship, Curtis helps award 4-year scholarships to deserving high school graduates every year. He is dedicated to turning his vision into something truly unforgettable. So today we're going to be talking about scale, purpose, storytelling, and what it takes to produce moments that resonate far beyond the stage. Please help me welcome A. Curtis Farrow.
Wow. Who is that person?
Who is that? That sounds really good.
That was so good. Who is that?
I love being able to celebrate folks. You know, you can't say all those things about yourself.
No, you can't.
You.
Right, you can't. And I'm actually going like, did I do that? Really? Okay.
Well, and when you've been busy for your whole life, right?
Yes.
Then when you hear it, you go, okay, wow.
Yes.
And you know what? I find this so important because even people like you and myself who are out here doing so much, we have moments, at least I'll speak for myself, where I go, have I done anything?
Yes.
And because those moments come, right? And so when somebody else says, remember, you did this, you did this, you helped people in this way. It's nice to hear.
Yes, I mean, and I can start with this moment because talking with you, I'm so excited because I was back in the early 2000s. I think you were at Ebony like 2002, 3, somewhere in there.
2007 to 10.
7 to 10. Okay, I knew it was in the 2000s.
Yep.
But we did a wonderful poster for my client McDonald's for Black History Month, where we did Ebony magazine covers, and it was one of the most popular things we've ever done for Black History Month. And so when I said, oh my God, that's Harriette. That's the best, the best one we've ever done. You know what I mean? And I forget about those things, and then I started to look at it, and this just how we got approval from. We have Michael Jordan on there. We had Diana Ross on there, and they all were just so happy. They charged no money, no nothing. It was amazing.
And that moment brings up so many fond memories for me. First of all, I absolutely loved the time that I was at Ebony. It was a historic time. The first cover I produced was of Barack and Michelle Obama right before he announced that he was running for president. I was like, ooh, this is on this historic path that was just unbelievable. But also, there was a woman working with me in my business when I went to work with Ebony. So I sort of carved out time from my company for a while. Right. And her name is Nubia Murray. She's from Chicago. She was working with me in New York. And then later, she went to McDonald's, and she's a big time executive at
Yes,
McDonald's right
yes,
now.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
this is a
yes.
full circle
Yes,
moment.
it's full circle. Isn't it amazing? It's
It really,
just so
really
amazing.
is.
I mean, and I just, even with what you're saying just right now, there's so many times, even, and for everyone, for dreamers out there,
Mhm.
there's just that moment of, you know, God blesses you, and then all of a sudden you're just there. You know, you
Mhm.
dream it. And I always say to everybody, it doesn't necessarily come the way you think it's
That's
going to
true.
come. You're just all of a sudden there, like yourself. You're all of a sudden you're at Ebony, and it's on you. You know, you know.
And you know, when you're prepared, because this is one of the
Yes,
lessons that I've learned from early on, when you are prepared for the moment, then it's such
yes.
a welcome moment, and you can bring all of your talents and expertise and interest when you're ready. And you know, it's interesting to me that you have been working with McDonald's over so many years and doing this great
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
Another you know, reminder moment for me is when my father passed away many years ago, and my
Hmm.
mother decided she was no longer going to stay in our family home because it was too big. When she sold the house,
Hmm.
she sold our house to a woman who was in leadership at McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
And she was a single mom, but she had a very good salary because she was part of a program that
Hmm.
McDonald's had that helped to build leaders. And I don't think that people always know what some corporations, some big
Yes,
American and
yes,
global corporations do to help people in
yes.
the community, but this was certainly she would not have had the resources as a single mom to be able to buy a home in a really nice neighborhood if she hadn't been part of this program that helped to elevate her.
Right. Yeah. No, it's amazing. You know, when you're in those boardrooms and and I don't have to tell you this, but for those who are watching and listening to us, when you're in those boardrooms and you're representing the community of at large,
Mhm.
you're in there. And there are not a lot of us in there,
Right.
and you actually come out of there, and you really come out. Every time I come out saying, hey, there's a scholarship that's available, hey, there's this that's available, hey, there's corporate help available, hey, you want to own a McDonald's, this is the person you go to see. But why am I going to this person? Just trust me, this
You're
person
right.
is going to walk you through the process. And that to me is the most important thing, is that how do we get to be in this space, and how do we take that to help others? I am so positively um, about making sure that I'm not only reaching back and helping others, but that I'm helping others on an everyday basis.
That's
I
beautiful.
tell people, reaching back and helping others, sometimes people feel like they have to do that when they're in a space, or a place. But reaching and helping others now is every day. God blesses you some kind of way that you can help someone along the way. Even when I see kids who, are walking down the street and they look like there's something going through, I smile at them and say, "Hey, young man, hey, how you doing?" And you get a
Right.
conversation. And I was at a Federal Express, and there was a young man, and he just looked like he was just doing a delivery. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, young man, how are you?" And I started having a conversation with him. And he says, I had this conversation with him, and just by look, you just would have said, "Oh, he's just doing a delivery." And I said to him, so what are you doing now? And he says, "Oh, I'm working in a recreation center." I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, "So what's your background?" He said, "Oh, I graduated from Harvard." And I said, "Oh, you did?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, I said, "What did you graduate from Harvard in?" He goes, "Oh, in marketing and communications." And I said, "Oh my goodness, really?" I said, "Well, it just so happens that I have a company that you may be good for." I said, "You know what? This is what you do. Monday at 9 o'clock, be at this address." And he came to our office and became one of our head guys here
Oh,
at the office. So every day I'm looking for, how can I help others, because God has given us this life, and
that's
we've been blessed so much. And I always tell everybody, the blessing really is not yours. It's given to you to bless others.
That is so true. You know, I just did a workshop this weekend called Confidence is Your Superpower. And it was really helping
I
people
love it.
to engage that inner confidence, because when you have it, then you
Mhm.
can
Yes,
respond to someone and say, this is who I am.
yes,
This is how I've been educated. This is what I want to do. If you don't say it out loud, people can't know it.
that's
And to
true.
just confidently state who you are and where you intend for your life to go, then
Hmm.
doors open. Just like
Yes,
what happened with you. Now, in your case,
yes,
and thank God for you, you're drawing it out of people, and there
yes,
are those of us who do that, and that's very
yes,
important, but I hope everybody who's paying attention right now will know, speak up. Speak up and
yes,
say what you want for your
yes.
life. If you say it, chances are somebody's going to hear you and say, "Hey, I know someone,"
Right,
or I may have something myself for you, but you
right.
can you can't receive the gift unless you're open and you allow people to even know
That's
who you are.
correct. Yes, no, it's so important. Even if you are timid at nature, even if you have, a place, especially now, where you're not open to just speaking with everybody. So that's God blessed me with that gift. That is
Yes,
my gift, right? And everybody's always blessed with a different gift.
that's right.
But what you have to do, to your point, is, we always say in the church, you have not because you ask not.
Mhm.
That is such a true statement. But for me, it's even bigger than that. It's like you don't speak up, then you can't be seen.
That is it. And what do people want more than anything? To be seen,
Seen.
heard, and respected.
Yes,
And that the 3 really do go together. So
they
I
do.
wanna go backwards with
Yeah.
you, because
Yes.
in the research about you, and I just said it in the intro, it said you started conducting choirs at
That's what,
9 years old. How
yes.
did that
So
happen? Please tell us that story.
well, so I'm a country boy. I'm cosmopolitan because I'm a New Yorker. I'm a total
Yeah.
100% New Yorker. I love New York. Ask anybody and they will tell you he is New York, But I was born in Niles, Michigan. And in a little community, I was raised in a little community called Hatcherville, which was pretty much all families, and pretty much all of us. What it was definitely a black little community within Niles, and I was raised, and I was raised by my mom, my stepdad, my dad, but then like just right maybe 500 feet down the road was my father's mother and father, and 500 feet from them was my mother's father and mother. And so I was really raised by a village. And in that village, I will say to you that we were taught everything. And that's why I tell everybody, and people say to me all the time, say, take your child to church. I don't care what you do, take them to church, let them be in Sunday school, let them be in all of the activities because they're going to train you. And so I got training while being in church, and all of a sudden the choir was singing, the senior choir was singing one day, and I said to my mom, I said, those parts were not right that you all were singing. And my mother was like, be quiet, boy. What are you talking about? And she's like, what do you know? You only 9. And I was like, no, those parts are not right. And so then her best friend was the choral director at that time. And so then when we got to the rehearsal, I went to the rehearsal and I said to her, I said, those parts are not correct. I said, the soprano should be here and the alto should be, and she looked and she goes, what are you talking about? I said, just try it. And this is at age 9. So they let me do it. And from that point forward, I was directing, and then I became director of what we called the junior choir then, and of the youth choir. And then our youth choir we were the baddest youth choir in Chicago, Detroit, in the whole Midwest. We were so good. And then from that point on, I just kept going and
Oh,
growing and
so
growing and
you
growing.
had you been watching the conductor to see how that happens? What got you to actually being able to do that?
Um, it was just it was a God gift, but it was really about also watching and learning
Hmm.
from those who were doing it. You know,
Yeah.
we have a lot of young people right now that I work with, and they I find they're brilliant, but I
Hmm.
find they don't want to take the time to just learn. They don't want to take the time to observe, you know,
Hmm.
and I say to them all the time, I said, the best thing that ever happened to my life was for me to have some folks in my life that said, hold it, hold it, hold it, just watch, just
Understood.
look, just
Understood.
listen before you talk or before you jump in, because you will learn more. And that's what happened to me. I promise. It's just amazing that even now that I am able to, you know, travel around the world. I mean, the complete world, and do master classes, you know, and just to do this gift that God blessed me. Definitely God blessed me with this gift and the anointing. But even beyond that is that I learned something every day. I learned
That's
something from
beautiful. Let me
somebody.
remind folks, because we're just in this conversation. We
I'm
are
sorry. I'm
talking
sorry.
with A. Curtis Farrow. This is Dream Leapers with Harriette Cole. Curtis is the producer of McDonald's Gospelfest. He has been conducting choirs since he was 9 years old. So he's a
Mhm.
prodigy, and he's developed this over all of these years. And we're getting to learn from his story right now. So Curtis, growing up in the church, that
Mhm.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people have been talking about the church today and
Mhm.
happening across our country, where
Mhm.
so many churches are closing, and
Yes.
it's difficult to get people to attend and to be part of
Yes.
that community that was so incredibly strong
Mhm.
for generations.
Mhm.
What do you see in the church today, and what do you think people can do to strengthen their church communities if they aren't strong the way they used to be?
Um, I I think we have one. I think we have to take a step back, and when I say that, meaning I think that even from a pastoral standpoint, I think that the pastors, and I think within the Black church, I can speak to the Black church.
Okay.
In the Black church, I think that we got into a kind of uh, we got into a place where other people would come and see us, and they were like, oh my God, that's so joyful. Oh my God, that's so amazing. And they went out and created their kind of what we were doing, mimicking.
Mhm.
And then we looked, and then we started mimicking a mimic of us. You know what I'm saying? And now we look back and we want to know why the spirit isn't there, or
Mhm.
why, and I don't mean anything against praise and worship. You know what I'm saying? That even as a art form, even as a music, but you culturally, I love when I go back to Africa, even now, the choral sound is who we are. And it's
Mhm.
something that we can do, that, and we can do it naturally, that others around the world just can't do.
Mhm.
But we have sort of put those things to the side. And guess what? That's what we used to use to communicate. Folks don't understand that even when we were in the fields, we used that to communicate, whether it was in the key of C or F. You know what I'm saying? We knew, oh, that's a somber chord. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That had its own special
That was how
meaning.
messages were delivered. Yeah, sure.
Correct, correct. And so I think that we let leadership take the entire Black church on a trip right now, that it became, and I don't mean that it became about money, but it became about seeing what others were doing, and they were growing, and they had all of these numbers. You know what I'm saying? And everybody wanted to have a mega church, and everybody wanted to have a big
Yes.
church. But can I tell you something? A mega church is exactly that. It's just a mega church. And guess what? If you look, mega churches are closing now too.
Yes.
They're closing, but and instead we took our eyes off of to me, we took our eyes off the Holy Spirit, and we became all about just praise and worship, praise and worship. But praise and worship was really them copying us,
Mm.
copying
So
our services.
what can be done now, Curtis, to for those who sincerely want to have community and strengthen
Mhm.
community in their spiritual homes? What can folks do to strengthen those spaces?
I think that we have to, one, I do think that we have to musically, and I think especially pastors around the world have to musically come back to that place where they have choirs
Mhm.
with a melody. If you notice, when I travel, I do church tours, so I'm all over the place in church every Sunday. Like I did 4 yesterday, I did
Wow.
4 the week before. So, and I have to say to you, every church that I've been to that kept the focus on their choir,
Mhm.
they're full.
Mm. Okay.
They're full. So the pastors, they look, oh, God, got a choir, got the problem. But it's not that. You got to remember the choir is there to support the pulpit. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? And so I think musically, it's challenge, it's work. But I think that we want everything. Again, this goes back to what I was saying when I started this. I think even within the church right now, we just want, and especially folks in leadership, they just want things to be easy and quick. And
Mhm.
it doesn't work that way. And that's why I think you got to concentrate on families. If
Mhm.
you promise people that you are going to train their kids and you're going to help their kids and you're looking toward the future, not toward the behind us, and really not even toward the now, toward the future, I think that's where we've lost it. We don't look toward the future.
Mm.
It's
Well,
all about
I love
now.
the
We
idea
want
of
we
doing
want
it
thousands of members now. You know what I'm
for
saying? So I think that that's what we really have to do. I would encourage leadership of churches to start concentrating on the future and what can we do to help the community at large. You know what I'm saying? So that we're in a space.
I love your drawing it through music, which obviously is near
Right.
and dear to your heart. But I
Right.
remember being on the choir in church when I was growing up, and
Hmm.
it didn't even matter if you could sing.
No.
Everybody, when you were young,
No.
got to be on the choir, and you learned how to sing in unison. And there
Yes.
are things that you learned about community and being together from
Yes.
participating in a choir that I think are very
Very
important.
important.
So,
Yes.
so how did you come to work with McDonald's Gospelfest? Did you actually create that?
No, 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 no. McDonald's Gospel Fest, it's the 43rd year
Oh
of
wow,
McDonald's Gospel Fest.
wow,
And it's my 26th year. But guess what? McDonald's Gospel Fest was created by a group of Black McDonald owner operators.
really?
Yes, they
Okay.
got together and they wanted to do a give back to their community. And they came up with this idea of McDonald's Gospel. They were going to do a gospel concert, and they really wanted to be something that really was about the youth, and they wanted to make sure that the youth were involved, young people, McDonald's family, that kind of thing.
Yes,
And so they went to the corporation. Of course, the corporation didn't understand it at the time, but they went to the corporation with that idea, and the corporation said, okay. And they were the first one. We have so many fests all over the place,
sure.
but they were the first ones to actually take that word festival and make it fest. That's why it became
Okay.
McDonald's Gospel Fest. Yes. So then that's how it all started. It started with a group of 5, I believe it's like 5 Black McDonald owner operators. They're the ones who created McDonald's Gospel Fest 43 years ago.
And
Yeah.
so how does it work? Does it travel to different places? Is it in one
So
location? How does it work?
so it's gone through a many varied kind of
I bet 43
yeah,
years.
yes, for years of what it is. But it used to be all over the country. We would have different gospel fests, and then have a big one. And then it sort of broke off. The one in LA shut down. Then New York was the biggest, of course.
Mm.
And then we started to do one, like I started to do one out in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle and in Milwaukee and in Miami. You know what I mean? So now we do the big one here in New York. And it's open to everyone. So, like, we get people from all over the world. So, last year,
Mm.
we had, for the first time ever, we had a 99% person voice choir from Japan who,
Wow.
yes, who came over. And that for the first, it's the first time that a Black church choir did not win the choir competition last year. They came for us. It was amazing.
And they won. All
And they
right.
won, yes, and they won. And I was like, and I even looked at the choirs. I said, okay, this year y'all better come. You better come with it because everyone. I mean, and we've had choirs come from Italy. We've had choirs come from Canada. And I mean predominantly white choirs, and
Sure.
they're looking at our what we do as an art form. They start as an art
It
form,
is.
then they become the spirit gets them, and so they're getting really good at it.
That's
They're getting
beautiful.
really good at it. Yeah. So it is open to everybody, but it happens here in New York City. New York is where everyone comes, and that we basically have auditions that are online now, video. They send videos, and we have live auditions too. Some people come to that, and we pick them, and then the best of the best are at the big show here in New York City.
So how does it work? Like, is it a day? Take people through what it's like if you come to Gospel Fest.
So if you come to Gospel Fest, so this year we're doing 3 shows. We're down on Broadway. We're on Broadway. We used to be in the big arena. We were at the Prudential Arena, and before that,
Yes.
we were at the Madison Square Garden. But now we're doing a Broadway show. So we're doing a Broadway schedule. So we have a 2:30 matinee on May 9th, and we have a 7:30 in the evening, May 9th. And then on Mother's Day itself, at 6 p.m., we have another one. So each one of those have different categories. So say the female singers and the praise dancers may be at the 2:30, and the choirs are at the evening. And then on that Sunday, it's the poets and the rappers. It's that kind of mix. And so the
Okay.
best of the best, they compete first. So that first kind of 45 minutes is the competition. But then from there, it's the stars. So like this year, we go from there, and then it's the Clark sisters. And then
Mm.
after the Clark sisters, it's Leandra Johnson. And then after that, it's the Broadway diva herself, the original dream girl, Jennifer Holliday. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and we just started one. We just had one this past weekend, and I have to say to you that Jennifer Holliday, oh my God.
She
I'm like
still
the
got it.
audience, yes, she still got it. And the audience, I think the audience is still, it was Saturday, and I think the audience is still there cheering. Yes, no, it's amazing. So that's really kind of the format. That's the format we're in now. And it's all about helping young people. It's about young people and giving them, and here's the thing, it's about especially young people who are believers and non-believers and who love gospel music. And it's really about giving them the opportunity to be on this, just not to just sing in the church, but giving them the opportunity to be on the same stages as the Beyoncés of the world. You know,
Beautiful.
they deserve that, right? So
Of
that's
course.
really
And
what it's.
there's a scholarship component to Gospel
Yeah,
Fest?
so there's a scholarship. So there's a scholarship component to McDonald's Gospel Fest. So we've always given out scholarships every year. Now it's under the Black McDonald owner operators of the New York tri-state area. Every year we give out scholarships, and before that we had the scholarship program where we had 99%. We gave 4-year scholarships out every year. And 99%, we had a scholarship rate, a graduation rate in college of
Woo.
99%. And the only reason that 1% was taken off of us because it took 2 of our kids 5 years to get their degrees.
So they all got it. They
All.
all got it.
They all, and because and I say this to everybody, the great thing about our scholarship programs and the great thing about what I believe it is so helpful is that we don't just give them a scholarship, we give them connection. So we
Beautiful.
have we have McDonald owner operators. We have say it's some of the young ladies. We have some of the McDonald owner operators, the female McDonald owner operators. They connect with them. They call them and see how's things going. How are you doing? Oh, you need. They'll send them a little something, or
It's a
because
real personal relationship.
yes, we found out that, I mean, people would be amazed. We found out that so many young, beautiful, gifted kids were dropping out of school just because they didn't have enough money to travel home for Christmas.
Sure. And
And they
depending
did
upon where they live, that could be very expensive. I
ex-
understand that.
exactly. And it goes back to what we started this, but they were afraid to say something to somebody.
Yes, yes. Let me remind folks, this is Dream Leapers with Harriette Cole. We are having a wonderful conversation with producer of McDonald's Gospel Fest, A. Curtis Farrow. So I'm curious. I want to go backwards because,
Okay.
well, we said that you started conducting choirs when you were 9. Now you've
Hmm.
got a few years on you, but let's talk about
Oh,
how
yes.
what
Just a
this
few.
journey has been like. Where did you go to school? What did you study? How did you build this gift?
Um, Well, I I always tell everybody that my schooling really happened in the Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church
Okay.
because they were so great at training us. I mean, I was the choir director, I was the secretary of the Sunday school, which means that I took the notes, I did all of that, and they just kept training us and they gave us speech lessons, they gave us speaking classes. So by the time that I graduated from high school, from Niles High School, I had done so many different things that I was the class president. I was the homecoming king, and this was in a predominantly white school, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
And in a
But
very, very small town.
small town, very small town. And so I had that village pushing me and I had that village, but they weren't just pushing. The greatest thing about it, I say to everybody, is that they were teaching us
Mm.
and they were teaching us. And so then I went to Suomi College in Hancock, Michigan for 2 years.
What's it called?
Um, Suomi College, homeland of Finland. It's a Finnish school.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
How'd you
So
choose that school?
because I was a little depressed because I wanted to go to Notre Dame, which was near. And Notre Dame didn't accept me, but I got accepted into like Harvard and some of the other great schools, but Notre Dame did not. So I was in total depression and I was like, I'm not going to school. I'm not going to school. And the kids can learn from this. I'm not going to school. And then a gentleman happened to come to our house and say, we would love for you to come to Suomi College. You don't have to pay anything, a
Ooh,
free ride. Yeah. So then I said, okay, I'll do that. It was, and then I wanted to just get away. So I did that, and it was one of the best things I ever did because they treated me so well. And then it moved from that, and then I moved from there to Wagner College on Staten Island. And the way I got there was because my professor met me there at Suomi and said, "The place for you is New York City. God has blessed you with so many gifts and talents. You need to go to New York City." And so I was like, my parents are never going to let me go to New York City. This church boy, are you kidding me? I never had even had a drink in my life. I was like, they're not going to allow me to go to New York City. And he goes, no, no, no. They'll go to Staten Island. It's so country, they won't even know they're in New York City. Isn't that
I was
something?
wondering why Staten Island. Okay, that was the
Yes,
bridge. That was the
yes,
bridge.
that was the bridge. And isn't that something that it really worked? It worked. And so I
And if
went to
you know
Staten
what, it
Island.
worked for you because you were
Yeah.
able to have a soft landing into the
Yes.
big city, which I'm sure
Yes.
was incredibly helpful. So I want to go back because you said that you were in a predominantly white neighborhood. Growing up, did
Hmm.
you ever experience racism?
Um, I did at a very early age. I was on my bus driver. My bus driver, there was just something about me he just didn't like. And I think it's because he felt like I was the teacher's pet, I was the
Mm.
principal's pet. But I was told by the way, everything was a sin, right? So to me, I just walked straight so that I didn't want to be that sinner.
You were not
And
going to be
so
that center.
right, I didn't want to be that sinner. And so he pulled me off the bus. This is in the country. He pulled me off the bus and left me there and drove away with all the rest of the kids on the bus.
What?
Yes, that did not go over well.
How old were
Mm,
you?
I was probably about 7. Yeah.
And did he come back?
He did not come back. He left me there. And so when the other kids got home and they went and told my parents, oh my God, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, that next morning, my grandmother was the the what do you call that? The bus person. She was the one with the orange thing. She was.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. She was the
yeah,
one. Yeah, when we got off the bus, she made sure all the kids got there and the
right,
car
sure.
stopped. That was her. Yeah. So when
Your
they got there, and I
grandmother. So
wasn't
then she saw that you didn't get off that bus.
correct. And the kids were all telling her that he had left me. Well, the next morning, when it was time to go to school, my stepfather I'm telling you, he almost yanked this man. And my grandmother kept telling him, no, 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 please don't. And my grandmother went to the school and my mother went to school. So it was a big thing. And that was my real first time really
Who
knowing
came
that
to
it
get
was
you?
my mom, my
Wow, that
mom.
must
And
have been
she,
so
yeah.
frightening.
She was so frightening, but they were so mad. They were so mad. I just remember how mad they were.
Mhm.
And they came and got me. And this is race. This other reason I knew it was racism was because the other day, I mean, then once that was all settled, he sort of looked at me and would, murmur, he would say things under his breath. You know what I'm saying? So I knew, and my family knew they taught me this is what this is what you do, this is what you know what I'm saying? So that was my first real kind of racism. But I mean, I've been called the N word in school. I've been, and don't forget, the more successful you are, I've been very privileged in my life that I learned so much, in my life, especially at Mount Olive. I learned so much. I was the class president and I ran against someone who did not look like me. They did not like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, racism is always there.
Right.
I don't go looking for it. I go,
Good.
I
You
don't,
don't need
yes,
to.
you don't need to, yeah, I don't go looking for it. I always tell young people, I said, I don't go looking for it, but I do go ready to jump over it and
Mhm.
to continue because the minute you let that push you back, you're starting
Mhm.
all over again. And then they win. That is not what it's all about.
No. So back to your upbringing. So you go to college, your second college is in
Yeah, yeah.
on
And
Staten Island.
and
What constitutes a big break for you just professionally?
so I went to college, and on at Wagner, they said you could not go audition for Broadway shows, even though we were in New York. A lot of the colleges in New York are like that. You can't. You have to only do work within that kind of format. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Oh no, I didn't come here for this." And I went and auditioned for "Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope," and got in immediately. And then that changed my whole life. So then I did Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, and did other shows from there. And then,
So you were
I
singing and acting?
singing, acting, dancing, doing it all,
Everything.
and
Okay.
everything. And then from that point on, I started looking at the directors, and I was like, wait a minute. Then there was not enough money in Broadway, by the way. There was not enough money in doing Broadway shows, and I was at Lincoln Center Don't
Mhm.
Bother Me, I Can't Cope. And then from that point on, I was like, this is not enough money. Started working on Wall Street. And then I started working on Wall Street. And then I just put it all together and say, wait a minute. I worked on Wall Street. I was at the Bank of New York and I got 10 promotions in 1 year. And then
Wow.
I was like over a big part of the mutual funds department. And then I said, wait a minute, I can do this myself. And so then that's when I said, wait a minute. So then that's when I created Irving Street Rep, which used to be other names, which became an entertainment company. And then we started doing work with DuPont. And we were doing so many things with DuPont that the head guy at DuPont pulled me to the side. He goes, you're not an entertainment company. You're a communications, you're advertising, you're a marketing, you're a consultant. And that changed the whole game for us. And that's when we said, wait, we're a full service agency. And that's how that all happened. And then McDonald's came through Carolyn Jones. You remember Carolyn
Of
Jones?
course,
Yes,
yes.
Carolyn Jones hired me. Carolyn Jones hired me, and so Carolyn Jones was like, "I want you to meet the McDonald owner operators, and I want you to meet them, and I want you to become the producer of the McDonald's Gospel Fest." And I
And
was like,
that
"No."
was that in the '80s or the
That
'90s?
was that was in the 90s.
in the
In the
90s.
late
So
90s,
I
right?
remember her very well. Back
Yes,
then, there
a
were a
legend.
number of African Americans who had
Agencies.
agencies, and there was
Mhm.
a lot of work back then. I wonder if you
Yes.
remember someone else who worked there, Gina Ross.
Oh,
Do you remember
yeah, of course.
Gina is my
Yes.
cousin.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh my
The world is
God.
this big, this
Oh my
big.
God. It is. Oh, please
Yes,
tell her hi. Give her
I
some love for
certainly
me.
shall. She'll be so happy to know that we
Yes.
connected.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
back just for folks who don't know, because history is very important.
Uh-huh.
In the 80s and 90s, there
Oh my
was
God.
so much work, there was so much
It was so
respect
wonderful.
and money backing up
Yes.
the respect
Yes.
to
Yes.
highlight things that were happening in the African American community, and to
Yes.
really put dollars toward
Yes.
supporting the community.
Yes.
And it was a very powerful time
It
in that
really
way.
was. But we also had people who fought, who put their own selves on the line, who were
Yep.
not afraid to go out there and fight. I tell people all the time, I said, no, you don't understand that, even like to say Reverend Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, you know what I'm saying? He helped so many McDonald
Yeah,
owner operators get to another level, and so many people get to another level. And I was like, you can't even count all of the things that,
that's
and
right.
if, and not just him, just the other leaders of that time. I know, like even within the McDonald system, Lee Dunham, they just were
Mhm.
not afraid to go out there and fight on behalf of us. And you're right, that time, I say to people, you don't understand how special it was. And to
It
work under a
was.
legend like Carolyn Jones, and
And there was,
it
and
was
so there was Carolyn Jones, there was
right.
Uniworld, there
Uniworld, yes. Curtis, I
Chicago,
forgot something, Curtis, that was in downtown. There were
right?
so many, and Carol, even Carol, big agency still now. She's still there. I can't think of her last name,
No,
but there were so many
there were
agencies.
so many
Yeah, even
agencies. And
Stedman, remember Stedman had
Debbie Graham,
agency.
yep. Mhm,
Yep,
mhm.
yeah. So it was a
So
great
yeah,
time.
but good news is, at least as in regards to this event,
Right,
that's 43 years and still going strong, because
right.
with this whole anti-DEI movement, a lot of things have
Yes,
shut down. So
right.
I'm happy to hear that it is going strong. I'm curious, you also have produced the homegoing services for a number of our greats. Did you participate at all in Jesse Jackson's
Yes, yes, I
service?
did. I did. I did.
Can you
Yeah,
can you
so
tell
I
us,
produced
because
the program. I produced and directed the program, so yes.
I thought you did.
Yes,
So
yeah.
would you, I mean, because for people who got to see little snippets of it, I mean, it
Uh,
was magnificent.
yeah, it was great.
And by
It
the
was
way, I
great.
went to college with Santita Jackson, and
Oh my God, Santita is my girl. I love her.
what
She's
a
just wonderful.
beautiful
Did
solo
she
she did.
wasn't she phenomenal? She
Oh,
was phenomenal. I said to everyone, that was our Mahalia moment.
yes.
It was amazing. She's so sweet and good to work with. Yusuf, oh my God, Yusuf really led everything. He amazing. Congressman Jonathan Jackson, Jesse Jackson Jr., Jacqueline, the whole family, and Mother Jackson. I got a chance to work with them all, and they were just wonderful to work with. And I have to say to everybody, I did Whitney Houston's, and that
Yes.
was the whole world was upon
Oh,
us.
oh,
And I said to everybody, you don't understand. No, your clients get put on hold for those 2 or 3 weeks. You can do nothing but that.
right.
And the same thing with Aretha's. The same thing with Aretha's. Our life, my whole team, we just worked on that. And the
Mhm.
same thing with, of course, Reverend Jackson's. But I mean, Tad Snow, George Faison.
Sure, of course.
Yes, yes. So his partner, his husband, and
Yes.
I tell people there are people that I do their service. I'm involved with their services, who you wouldn't believe they had. I remember it's Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey. It was like you can't even imagine who was in the audience, and
Exactly.
it is like so. I tell everyone, for me, it's not something I run to because I didn't design to do that. And
Mhm.
now, folks calling me now and going, oh my God, you're a part of history. Do you know that we don't know anybody else who's done that at that level for that many folks internationally? And I said to everybody, I said, no, For me, it's an anointing, an appointment from God, that
That
God
is,
has said to
yeah,
me, go and prepare my child. Go and prepare my child and to give my child to me in celebration. And that's the way I look at it. That's
beautiful.
the way I look at it.
Hey guys, this is Dream Leapers with Harriette Cole. We are talking with A. Curtis Farrow, the producer of McDonald's Gospelfest, which is coming to New York City in just a few days. And literally, we have 5 minutes left. So,
Oh, wow.
in
Wow. That
these
went
few,
quick.
I told you it goes by super fast. So,
Yes.
Curtis, I want you to tell us, what advice can you give, especially to young people
Mhm.
who are looking to carve out their path, to trust that they can follow their heart? What advice can you give to them to motivate them?
I would say my first one would be, do not let anyone say to you, focus on one thing. Don't
Mm,
do it. They used to say that to me when I was in school. My teachers would say, he's going to be great if he would just focus. And my grandmother would pull me to the side, Mary Cross. She would pull me to the side and say, baby, don't listen to them. You do everything God blessed you. He blessed you with so many talents, they just can't see it. You use them all. And so, what I would say to young people is, you've been blessed with so many talents, use them all. Now, the other thing that I would say, and I've learned this over these few years of working with so many young people, is the OGs, don't throw us away. We
yes,
got a lot we got a lot up here that we can help you. We've been there. You're going to go through so many places that we've already been, and we can help you, you know,
yes.
we can help you with that detour. We can help you stay in that lane. We can help you, navigate better, the system better. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I
Of
would
course.
really say. That's what I would encourage young people
I love
to
that. And
to
and now and now I'm going to ask you a reverse
okay.
question to that, because
Okay.
I have many people, many of my clients who I work with coaching are people in transition, many who are later in life and who are
Mhm.
looking for next. And
Right.
sometimes they feel like it's too late. And I'm a firm believer that is absolutely never too late. But what would you say to people who may feel that way? Like, oh, the ship has sailed without me on it. What can inspire them to take a deep breath and keep on moving?
I would say to them, the the race is not given to the swift. This race, when you have to keep, you notice the professional runners, when they get to the finish line, you never see anybody stop immediately.
That's right.
They run through the finish line. And so those of us who are my age and older or close to me, we need to just keep running. I promise it's going to be blessed. God is going to bless you. And you're going to be blessed in major ways. Some of the best things that ever happened to me are happening to me now. And
Mhm.
people have been saying to me, oh, when are you going to retire? Now, that's not to say I'm not preparing young people to take over what I'm doing. I am. But I am still going to keep running this race because opportunity comes in. It comes when you are continually to activate. That word activate is so important.
So important.
Don't become a non-activator just because you become 65 or just because you become 50. 50 is the new 16, I tell everybody. Keep
I love it.
activating. Yeah, just keep activating. And if you keep activating, you're not only going to find joy, you're going to find so much love just waiting for you.
And please remind folks of when and where McDonald's Gospel Fest is.
No problem. McDonald's Gospel Fest this year is right there on Broadway at the Palladium Times Square, and it is starring the Clark sisters. It's starring Leandra Johnson and, of course, Jennifer Holliday and many, many more. You can get your tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com or to thepalladium.com.
And it's on May.
It's on May 9th, Mother's Day weekend. It's the Mother's Day weekend event of the year. It's Mother's Day weekend. We're doing a Broadway schedule, 2:30 on Saturday, 7:30 in the evening. And then, of course, on Sunday, on Mother's Day at 6 p.m., everybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome to come and have a good time. And we do have a great time. And mothers love it. They come I see the same mothers every year. Those
Love it.
mothers have become grandmothers, and now they're bringing their daughters, you know. So it's for everyone, though.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. This
Thank
has been
you. And
delightful.
I couldn't wait to talk to you. I'm so proud of you. I'm
Oh,
so
thank
proud
you.
of you. And you're doing such a magnificent work. And I want you to keep running past that finish line
Well,
too.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good
Thank
luck with
you.
everything. Many
Thank you
blessings
so
to
much.
you.
Thank you, Harriet. You're the best.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
thank you to all of you for tuning in. I hope you had as much fun as I did talking with A. Curtis Farrow, producer of McDonald's Gospelfest, the 43rd year. Isn't that amazing? Until next time, have a great day and make it count.